back with another one. Let's try to do this, bruh. I guess we're doing it. Let go. All right, folks. It's a Thursday. We're back on with another one. I'm going to try to just raw dog this whole operation. A couple shout-outs. Shout out to the event, too. If you're listening, not too long ago, previous guest I had on, Two Tails, had a sweet private show, and that shit was bomb. Keep an eye out for that, too. Follow those guys. There's so many insane artists in this local area, and that's what I did last weekend. That was literally the shit. Got busted. That was the fun part. I don't think there's a better way to end a party, really, than it getting busted or ends anything. I feel like when the cops come and just let everybody go home and just end it, that's a story. Now you have a story that you might tell for a little longer. Or anyways, I'll be like, yo, yeah, they didn't tell me nothing. Get a big chest about it. Got away scot-free. But no, those guys know how to put on a show. Big shout out to Delbeck 9. Delbeck 9. If you want to be, let me tell you something. If you want to be a fucking legend, buy one of these shirts. Because Game Stonk ain't gonna stop. What was it? A couple weeks ago, it went to like back up to like 300 and something. I don't know if you guys are paying attention, but for those of you who either follow the Reddit feed or the stock market, I wouldn't encourage anybody to invest in it, but hey, it's a show. Stock market's doing crappy for those of you who have made previous investments as of last year or earlier this year. Man, that tanked. But shout out to Delbeck 9, by the way. Game Stonk. If you want to be a legend, what the fuck? If you want to be a legend, buy one of these shirts. The link's below for the Etsy shop. You can buy one or just contact me through DMs. But shout out to Delbeck 9 again. You the man, bro. And you're a fucking legend. Let me just turn this light on. Nothing like stage setup failure. This light does that, and like it's gonna get me in the middle of a podcast when I'm here with somebody, and I just know it, and I'm probably gonna have to do something about that because I don't get why it's doing that. It's got a mind of its own, man. Further apologies to those of you who tuned into my last Off the Top for saying the F word too many times, way too many times. If you want to know what your nervous twitches are, film yourself talking by yourself. Today's episode is brought to you by not planning anything. So I've locked myself in this room by myself like a complete psychopath. Once again. And oh yeah. So if you want to know what makes you what your nervous tics are, just film yourself for like an hour talking, and you'll realize you said the F word every other word. Cause you're a pro. Cause you're an MC, man. It's a skill. It's a skill, and I want to thank everybody who's tuning in to the Off the Top series, number 2, baby. We're at number 2, and we're just ripping. We're ripping and rolling, and I'm over here just looking at the clock, watching paint dry. But I didn't get any feedback last time, and I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what's good, what's bad. Give me some hate. I'm trying to get canceled. I think that's what we need. Here's my thing. Aside from all the controversy canceling things causes, it is, and it's a conspiracy of mine, but I think it's the new way to advertise. So they cancel Dr. Seuss for some no reason really. There's no actual reason. It's all subjective. Like, oh, he said this way in like a 90 years. That might mean something else. Most people probably won't be able to read by then, so that might be insulting. You know what I mean? So you go up to get canceled. I don't think there was a time probably where more copies of Dr. Seuss were sold in a short period of time. Because then there's the people who are against the cancellation. You're like, you know what? Fuck you. And buys as many copies as they can off Amazon. I'm going to teach my kids this book. So now you have 90 copies of, what was one of them that was canceled? Let me look it up real quick. It was about the one with the kid in the zoo. And he was like going all over the world. And I actually went on YouTube and listened to it, and it was actually pretty funny because it was a damn good one. What should I get as a pet? Oh, If I Ran the Zoo by Dr. Seuss. And I think the reason it was canceled, it's another way of saying advertised on a mass scale. What was I saying? Oh yeah, it was advertised on a mass scale. I read that book, went on YouTube, had somebody read it. The whole thing's on YouTube. I couldn't find a PDF to read it myself. I know how to read, guys. Come on. And so the book featured maybe 2 pages where he went to different countries, and one of them was Africa and the other one was China or Asia. Who knows if it was China. And it was just people wearing things of that culture, and I guess that's racist to illustrate people of different cultures. So I'm assuming that's what it is. Or that's what it is. What it is mad bags, yo. I'm talking thousands of copies probably sold. Although the whole Aunt Jemima thing didn't do them any justice. That was a bummer. And it definitely, I don't think it did Coke much justice. I didn't look into the whole Coke thing. Coca-Cola, that is. Coke's fine. The drug, just do it. Go on a tear. Go online. Do a bunch of Coke, because that's still PC. And then just find what gets you mad. That's almost kind of what you would think would happen. Somebody on some wild bender gets online, finds things they don't like, and then just, I'm going to start a blog. And like wood chips are coming out of their keyboard. And then all of a sudden, the depth and profundity of what they had to say just echoes through humanity. Couldn't agree more. So if I get canceled, people are going to be, there'll be a few people who have a lot of very maybe articulate things to say about me. And I don't mean that in a good way. And then there will be the people who go, it's not that bad. And then maybe it bumps it up. So like, cancel locals only off the top. It might be the thing to do. That's how you get more people involved. That's got to be it. Because what else happened like that? I'm trying to think. What got canceled? There should be like a canceled calendar. What got canceled? Make that an app, and every day something new. Every single day something new. I have to type in what got canceled by cancel culture. It's become a culture. It's becoming a community. You could probably pinpoint the people. There's probably a look. Oh, there it goes again. There. It's fucking what? That's what I thought. Anyways, yeah. There's a look. And here's what the look is. If you're in your car by yourself with a mask, that's the look. That's the people canceling Dr. Seuss. But I love how quickly people jumped on, like, Dr. Seuss is canceled. I see all these memes. Dr. Seuss is canceled, but not Cardi B for for wet ass, you know what? Just in case, this is a kids show. You know, gotta keep it PG. Never mind PC. We gotta keep it PG. What got canceled by cancel culture? I think half the problem with a lot of this stuff is people are looking so deeply into things that it can be interpreted any way. And since we all collectively, at least in the first world, spent a year and change inside, especially for those for some of us who are more irritable than others, which is pretty much everybody in the city. If you live in the city, you're probably and not by fault of your own irritable, but the city's already a fucking pain in the ass to live in, I would assume, considering it's hard to get anywhere. There's lots of people, blah, blah, blah. But the amount of space you have to live is so minute versus, an economic shutdown and you live in, some farm in Kentucky. Life doesn't really change for you. You're still probably living outside for the most part, especially if it's warmer out. And especially if you're in the South and it's warmer out. That's why I think that's why a lot of those states have been just raging since the get. I mean, half of the country's I think open, right? You guys would know. I don't know. Fully open. What is it? Blah, blah. Yeah, I can't find out what else was canceled. But something else will be canceled. I wonder, there should be bets. There's got to be bets. It should be like a sport. ESPN, this week on cancel culture. They're canceling cups. Because somebody who was bad drank out of a cup once. That's the funniest thing too, because at least from a psychological standpoint or human behavioral standpoint, how a child interprets something is entirely different than how I think the whole Dr. Seuss thing started with some teachers, and they were like, this isn't right. The only people allowed in these books should be people that look like us on a mass scale. That's what I was thinking. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that, but how do you feel about every form of culture to be off of the branding, and now you have only what's it gonna take to get the Quaker's Oats guy off the label? That dude was when people dressed up like that, things were a little different. You're dressing like a pilgrim, a little sus, dude. Look a little sus, Quaker's Oats guy. He gets the pass for some reason. And but that's the things we can talk about in the first world, I think I talked about this last time, just spinning my wheels here, Freaking lost my AirPod the other day. A while ago now, actually. Yet to be found and forever gone. And what do you do when somebody finds it? If you didn't know somebody lost it, I found one in a parking lot, somewhere else once, and who do you call? You just put it in and find out where it connects. Dwing! And then you look around. Hey! AirPod! I have your AirPod. Oh, that might get me canceled saying it like that. I have your Earpods, sir. Everything will be like, sir, what you wore today is not acceptable. No, I'm just messing. Trying to piece together the dots, man. Frickin' spring has sprung. It's warm out. It's time to stretch out the legs. Get some sunshine. Man, I tell you, you don't realize well, here's the thing. I can't imagine living somewhere where it's like warm all the time. Not that I love the cold or the snow, because I don't, but what do you do all year, every year? Oh, it's been warm forever. So I'm trying to, in other words, shed light on the respect, I guess, that transitions from the seasons kind of deserve, in that at least at least it's a little different. It's a little different. The real struggle is staying healthy through the winter. Because aside from sitting down and being inside every day, unless you're really outdoorsy, which there isn't many excuses, I guess, not to be, besides the fact that the fucking air hurts your skin, which is enough reason for me never to go outside. And if you're somebody who's like, oh, it's not that bad, you just gotta wait, no, I don't gotta, and I don't have it. Just gotta spend $9,000 on clothes, 17 layers, freaking mech boots. You have to wear 30 pounds worth of clothing. That's all. Like, geez, man. By the time I put all those clothes on, the sun's down. When the hell are we gonna get rid of the whole daylight saving thing? I think we should keep it the way it is here, and then just screw everybody else. Oh, but no. But I don't like how that. No, we gotta just stop. Because what the clock says has nothing to do with when the sun comes up and down. At all. No more than the tail wags the dog. Freaking. I think human superpower is, let's see how arbitrary we can be. If I was an alien, this would be like art. That's why they only visit in the sky. They're like, oh, here's Earth. To your left, you'll see a bunch of people writing down things that govern themselves. They believe the sun sets and rises when they say. If it was illegal to wake up in the morning, I'd just stay asleep all day. I would say I think the reason was for agrarian purposes, but again, I've never had a discussion with a farmer. I'm going to be completely fair. I've never had a discussion with a farmer, but I would assume when you're growing things, they're gonna grow when the sun's up, not when it's 7. The plants aren't that's 7:30! Time to come! Oh, 7:30. Time to grow. And so they grow because the clock says so, right? I would say, scratch the clock thing. No more time. Never be late. I would never be late. Neither would you. And you're welcome, because that kind of information isn't cheap, man. And I've pretty much just solved most people's problems. Some people get fired for that, and not anymore. Can't be late. Like, yo, you're supposed to be here what's a half a what? Half a banana ago? No. I'm right here right now. Time to work. That'd be chaotic, man. It's gotta have that balance. You gotta have that balance. I think time's a very important measurement. Keeps you on your toes. Gotta be the easiest way to, divide your day up and schedule things. Otherwise, we'd all be running around like monkeys. Which sometimes, man, that sounds like a dream in comparison to some days, I tell you that much. You ever look at a bird and go, man, I wish I was that bird? I literally do that every day. I go, man, I wish I was that bird. And then somebody's like, Mike, why are you drooling? And I go, oh, yeah. Back to work. I wonder if cats wish they were a bird and they're like, oh, no! Fuck, dead. Bird's dead. I mean, there's got to be a way. I mean, how often do you guys think about getting a plane ticket to Tibet and just being a monk? I don't know if I think about that. If the amount of times I think about that is healthy or unhealthy. I want to do the one ticket thing. All I brought is a suitcase and a ticket. There's no plans to come back. It's easy to get like really caught up. I think that's what it is. You can get really caught up. And then all of a sudden you think that the society you live in is an accurate demonstration of reality. And that's why it's exciting, because it's obviously not. And there's like totally different ways to live. So you get out there and just get lost. Like, what's really the repercussions? If you're afraid of doing everything that you want to do, you build up an irrational expectation of the worst possible situation. But on the other hand, you become a bird. You could become a bird. Just always doing stuff. You know what it is? I feel like there's a lot of pressure to live until you're like forever, actually. There's a lot of pressure to live forever. I think that's what it is. It's like, people, you got to live forever, man. And like, say you just go off and do that thing. You buy a ticket, you sling on your favorite fucking Hawaiian t-shirt, and you go into the mountains or wherever. Bring a kind bar and a yo-yo and some whatever you need to be yourself in some regard, and you just do that. But there's like, oh, well, how are you gonna survive forever? Like, bro, I mean, what if I want to just 35, man? That's all I need. 35 good ones. 35 good ones. That's how you become, like, I mean, that's called power. That's all I need, bro. Just a nibble. Why'd I put these shades on? Why the hell not? Because my future's bright. So bright. Blinding. You go out with the expectation you live forever. And And then what? What happens when you live forever? I feel like that's what technology is trying to do. We don't want anybody dying before the age of forever. Just keep on keeping on. And then there's like, you know what that would mean? If people had to live forever, that means everybody, you'd have to kill so many people. And it'd probably be illegal to have kids. Like, yo, you're gonna be doing something permanent? Imagine the pressure of getting it on at that point. Phew. What's the learning curve? Humans already grow up slow, living to 100, you know? You really can't do anything productively until, 15, 20 years into your life. You ever see a horse shit out another horse? It's like, boom, let's do it. It's a little wobbly, fine. It's a little wobbly, it's a little shaky. But it's ready. It's primed, bro. A baby comes out, useless. 5 pounds of crunchy water, as far as I'm concerned. And it can't do nothing. Just up there. If you left it alone, it would die. I feel like that's the only animal that the offspring, humans that is, are the only animal where its offspring are just useless. Is a little embellished. It's a little bit of an overstatement. Cause and it's not like, oh, next year it'll be able to. No. The year after that, surely. No. 3 years old? 2 years old? 3 years old? No. And I don't want to hear none of this. Oh, well, this one time. Yeah, one time, bro. There's 7.8 billion people right now, and there's been over 100 billion ever, supposedly. One time is not enough. Kids are dumb. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. It's a fact. So, you have a kid and they last forever. That goes on. What if it takes like 70 years for that person to become functional? If that changes anything. I don't think humans will ever be able to live forever, but that's the expectation, and that's why people can't go or think they can't go and just completely reinvent their whole life, because there's the off chance that you might die sooner than you should. So what I'm saying is, if you want to fly, you go parachuting you go skydiving without parachute. So what, you die. Fuck that. I am down to go skydiving, though. Brian Denning, if you're listening, bro. Yup. This summer. Yup. Big fan of the book. Trying to Get to Full Boil is one of the best books of all time. Shout out to Brian Denning. And The Pen is Dry. Great book. Because really, we're all just trying to get to full boil. I think that's what we're all trying to do. We're trying to get the full boil. And if you don't get there, the pan is dry. And that kind of goes back to what I was saying before in some way, if you don't get to where you need to be, you might dry the pan out before you get there. And a dry pan just doesn't cut it. A dry pan is precisely what you need before you start cooking. So maybe it could mean a fresh start. Oh, there's some philosophy 101 with you on that. I need to freaking get some sponsors up in here. If anybody wants to sponsor this podcast, let me know. I wonder at what point will we realize how useless social media really is comparatively to how useful it is, to the point where we just don't use it anymore. There's got to be resident frequency on that, a point at which it just becomes superfluous. Because fire's very useful, but most people never see it anymore. And that's because it can burn your house down or kill you. And so can social media. So that leads me to wonder, at what point are people going to be like, nah, fuck that, dude? Because that's kind of almost where I'm at sometimes. You can be having a good day, la, 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 and you're scrolling through, and then boom, you get fired up. I'm tired of getting fired up. 2020, I was fired up. And not rationally, because again, it's from social media. And so you kind of forget to take things with a grain of salt, so you can't be like, "Oh, I'm a victim." So it's my fault. It's everybody's fault in that way. But yeah, playing with fire inside the house will burn the house down. Though the difference from the fire and social media is that that social media will burn your house down from the outside. So when? Probably when they cancel the news. It'll be like social media is illegal. No. It can't happen like that. It's got to happen. It's got to happen. It's got to happen some totally different way. It's got to happen. Might just be like a random thing, like Dogecoin going to the freaking moon, man. Comment below Dogecoin. Smash the comment section with Dogecoin. But yeah, man. You go to Tibet, you live with the monks. I'll just chant the next 60 years of my life away. I mean, something's got some. I mean, I think they're onto something. I don't want to get too deep, but I don't actually know much about it. I'd have to go there. You'd have to just go there and do it. But that's the scary thing, because there are so many things to do, and I don't think life is long enough to do all of them. And I'm not saying that life is short, because I think the degree at which it's short is the degree of variety at which you have. So if your life consists of you doing your job for, from, we'll say, early 20s to 65, that's a short life, because you did the same thing 90% of the time, or technically, the same thing 90% of the time. You have to sleep every night, and you'll have free time, but if your free time's TV, and then your busy time is work, that's 3 things, and that takes up all your time. And there's the occasional, like, maybe going out. But then what constitutes going out? Doing the same thing every time? Or gotta throw a wrench in the bucket sometimes. Just get a little wild. Just get a little loopy, little wacky, little Jonathan Livingston Seagull-y, if you guys haven't read that book. Psh, what a waste. If you haven't read that book, you're a waste. Nah, that's that's a decent read. Whatever happened to I'm just thinking the other day, you ever think about, like, when somebody throws a birthday party, and that's something that's more common, I guess, with Portuguese people, or maybe it's in Europe, I don't know, but I see it a lot in different people, different families and whatnot, and the birthday party goes on, and somebody will smash the birthday person's face into the cake. Okay, what if I wanted a piece? That's never gonna. That's That's a tradition that's out the door. After this whole fucking Rona. My Rona. My Rona. No more face smashing. We don't eat cake anyways, honestly. You did everybody a favor. If you smash somebody's face into the cake before we ate it, they come out, they go, like this. It's like, oh, it's hilarious. There's cake coming out of your nose and out of your mouth. It's like, that was in the cake. Now, gang, win the side piece. Best you give me is a shave some icing off the side. Shit. I'll just take another slice of pizza. Thanks. You don't catch me. And that's happened to me before. I've done that. I've been my face has been smashed into a lot of cakes. It's kind of like ha ha ha, but the older I get, the less dirty I want to be. Like when you're a kid, your eating involves your entire body. If you ever watched a toddler eat, or like somebody, again, this goes back to how useless people are from standard standpoint. If you're eating, I mean, talk about that's not efficient, right? If you're gonna eat something that isn't a solid and it's all over your body, you did it wrong. Start over, try again. And then you're on the couch. Oh, have you ever seen kids use technology while they eat? Oh. You got games on your phone? No, I actually don't even have a phone. What's a phone? I go, the only game I have on this phone is the news. That's a showstopper. What a yawn. Today we will talk about how afraid and angry you should be. Now, Tom, with the weather. It's gonna be sunny tomorrow. I think that should be a requirement. When they tell the news and they start talking about the weather, everything should be said as a question. Because they can't even get that right half the day. It's supposed to rain on Thursday. Best day ever. I didn't make any plans Thursday. I'm going to do everything inside. Oh, one of the nicest days I've ever seen in my whole life. There's a rainbow on a sunny day. You shafted me, man. Out of a good day. The news is like equivalent to the pain of, as a kid, shopping for clothes with your parents. It hurt so bad if you tried to puke, you could. It hurt that bad. It's just, I mean, what are you going to do? What was I talking about? Kids eating? Oh, bruh. That's the problem with school, too. You don't get to learn the things you need to learn. Like, English is probably, let me see. English and maybe science is the only two things that are really important about school, that are relatively important about K through 12 education. Because they don't teach you how to eat or nothing. They don't teach you how to grow your own food, make your own clothes, build your own house. And you think, well, that's a lot to teach a kid. Not really, because the basics of building something is pretty ubiquitous. Like, everybody needs it. Everybody needs to eat. They don't teach you how to love or make friends either. You just, hey, good luck. And everybody's got fucked up friendships and shitloads of relationship problems. I think if you ask me, school should be a series of psychological, theoretical, and philosophical education. Because, let's be honest, 99% of things are subjective. There's a lot of trivia. Sure. But the requirement for trivial things is subjective. For instance, when I was doing the course, I'm a personal trainer or strength and conditioning coach now. when I got my personal training certificate, I got and not got, I had to learn about how the human heart worked. And perhaps that is an astute thing to know. Yes, the heart! Come to me! No, I'm no surgeon, but I learned a little bit about it once. Like, am I supposed to, like, what am I supposed to do with somebody? And for those of you who don't know, a personal trainer's job is to really teach exercise. Maybe you could even call it some degree of exercise science, the understanding of how to move your body in the most particular way. That's really what it is. If I'm over here having to know where oxidized and unoxidized blood comes in and out, and what parts of the heart that's associated with, I'm like, well, I was thinking about being a trainer, but I guess I'll be a heart surgeon. And that's what I mean. There's a level of trivia that is not required in most educational environments. Because what's the goal? To make smart people or intelligent people? And I guess if you want, you could define the difference between the two as smart people are very good at remembering things, and intelligent people are very good at innovating, renovating, or inventing things, creating new ways to think, maybe. So here you are in school. It's like, the Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and I've never had a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and I have no friends, actually. Because that's really the hardest thing to navigate, is your place in a social environment. That determines more often than not who you are. So if you know who sailed the ocean blue in 1782 or whatever the hell it is, I don't even know. I don't pay attention. I take pride in that, actually, because never has it helped me yet. I never have gone to the grocery store and they'd be like, who won the Battle of 72? And you're like, oh, guess I'm not eating tonight. Just give him some cash instead. That's the way it should be done. People get mad at people for paying off teachers, but like, really, what's he gonna know? Like, who remembers? Yes, 7th grade math did me well. This algebra sure has saved my ass a few times. That's my thing. I really want to go to college, but I don't want to take the prerequisites for certain things. Like, I'm thinking how cool it would be to go to college to study like psychology or philosophy or human behavior. But it's like, you gotta learn. I don't know this because I haven't really applied, but I'm gonna assume, because I've been to college before, and it's like, oh, you gotta know at least college level math. Why? Tell me why. Like that TikTok. Why do I have to learn math? Where am I gonna use it? And some people kind of are like, well, that's a pretty dismissive question. No, it's not. It's a very good question, because that's just as useful as me learning how to play a xylophone. And I think I would prefer that, to professionally know how to play a xylophone. Use the proper scales and the proper notes in correct combination with one another. Now, that's not to say that I don't enjoy math. I think math is a very beautiful language, in pretty much every single way. But I'm not interested in learning it in a short period of time. I think that's really where I think a lot of people get thrown off by the rigidness of academia. Because back to what I was saying before, baby can't even eat at 1, 2, really 3 years old. A 3-year-old would die if you just weren't around. It would end up eating a battery or drinking antifreeze. Maybe. Definitely. Yeah. If you remember what it was like to be 3, and this guy does. Shit. I would have eaten I would have just found the sugar and just ate sugar. Grains. Just a spoon in the sugar jar. Suck the spoon clean every time. Bam. And then I would have just, decayed at some point, because I can't even imagine what would happen to a 3-year-old who just ate sugar for like 3 days straight, because that's probably how long it would take before he'd just die. What was my point? 3-year-olds dying, and that's all, folks. Blah, 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 folks. No. The importance of learning things. Yeah. What the heck? Ah, totally lost my train of thought, man. Oh no, what I was saying is that you have so little time to learn something. As a creature, we'll say, that takes a really long time to learn how to do something so basic, like make a sandwich or draw a circle or something like that. And you might think, well, a 3-year-old, yeah, 3 years? Bro, most animals are thriving on that at the end of that first year. They're like at their prime. So don't even start. Have you seen like a 1-year-old dog? Oh yeah, he's 2 months old, and the dog's like just beautiful. Or whatever, maybe 2 months is embellished. A couple, we'll say 4 months, 5, 6 months, and then by the time it's on to the second year, it's ready to go. It's ready to make more dogs. Humans, it takes like probably 15, 16 years biologically before you can start reproducing. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Probably even sooner. Wait, yeah, what is the... I don't know much about how that works with girls, but I mean, whenever the menstrual cycle starts, I guess, is when you could biologically have a kid. I remember reading somewhere 13 years old and pregnant. Forget that, dude. 13-year-olds would do the same thing. They would find a thing of sugar and just eat that till they die if parents were. That's what I would have done anyways. 13, I was like... productive, but in different ways, I tell you. So yeah, you go to school, you have to learn something in a short period of time, and if you don't, you lost. And as much as I like understanding and functioning in a world that life is considered a game, because that certainly makes it more fun, whereas life is a very temporary experience. That makes things super fun, because nobody wants to do something because they have to, and I mean have to in a very rigid way, like tyrannically. Like if you don't, you are out. Especially when it comes to something like school. Because to be a scholar, and I think the root word of scholar is like some Latin word that actually means leisure. I mean, there's no real leisure. And nearly $100,000 in debt, and now you fucking failed. Hey, there's the door. Learn algebra. And you're like, I was here to learn psych. Get the heck out. I wonder how many people... I became a lawyer. And I tell you, if I didn't know algebra, I wouldn't be the man who I am today. It's almost like, you can't pass this class until you've mastered the ability to say the ABCs backwards in 5 seconds while doing a handstand. It's equally as arbitrary. I understand there might be a little bit of physical requirements, but it's still that's arbitrary. That's just as arbitrary, I think. Yeah, yeah. So we're figuring out here on Off the Top. A little rusty, but we're having fun. And I want to thank everybody who's listened this far to The Village Idiot. Hi. Hello. And I am here this week. But we got some sweet guests lined up. I want to thank again everybody who's ever been listening and anybody who regularly listens and anybody who has been on as a guest. You rock. No, you really do, though. You make the show. And being very sincere, you make the show what it is, and I appreciate you. But yeah, let's wrap this puppy up. It's about an hour. That's all I really got in me. Kind of coming out the gate, pulling myself up by your own bootstraps. Let me finish off with something. If there's somebody in your life who says you can't pull yourself up by your own bootstraps, fuck that person. Get that person out of your life. Or just don't talk to them as much. Or come up behind them with an assassin's blade and give them a Swahili necktie. That's when you slit somebody's neck open and their tongue hangs out. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace. Peace, baby.